Friends, it now gives me great pleasure to call on Hunter. And all of us know Hunter in some shape or form, but I will read a small bio on Hunter for those who are not sure if Hunter is the real McCoy, but he is the real McCoy. He is a business owner, a marketeer, a speaker, a philanthropist who has the passion for changing the lives of mature individuals through business ownership. Hunter has a proven track record working with over 500 business owners for the past 17 years, helping guide their marketing and strategy through the first business called Blue Frog Marketing, founded in 2001. He has created a new business, founded in 2016, called Silver and Wise, with books, workshops, online learning programs to help business owners lift their skills in starting and running successful businesses. Hunter has written 6 books, so I assume this is the 6th or the 7th? The seventh books on marketing and business ownership, surveyed more than 10,000 business owners, delivered over 600 presentations to more than 15,000 business owners, and contributed to over $2 billion in sales growth for his clients since 2001. Wow, that's fantastic, well done. When not running his business and helping business owners, Hunter is a keen musician, with Nicole, I assume, so you've got a band, is that right?
Yep.
It's not the Hunters and Collectors. No, okay. Well, I just thought. A keen music photographer.
Yep. Okay,
great. And a cook. Well, there you go. I was right. Isn't that fantastic? So, ladies and gentlemen, the part of the next My Kitchen Rules. No, come on, Hunter. It's you're on stage now.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks everyone for coming along to the launch of my 6th book, Generation Experience. I guess I will mention a few people as I go along, but there's a real breadth of people here tonight, from my oldest mate, Rod, in the corner, who I've known since we were 5 years old, believe it or not. That's a fair while ago, mate, yes. Through colleagues and friends from Merck, Guy and Jeff, who I worked with in my 20s and 30s. Guy, in particular, heard my first presentation of those 600, so I seem to remember him saying he was my mentor in presenting, and do you remember those old pointers that you used in presentations? Well, I said, so Guy, could you help me with my presentation and give me some tips? At the end of the presentation, he said to me, if you use that pointer again and do this one more time, I'm going to... I won't say what he said, but anyway, lesson learnt. I don't use pointers anymore. Thank you to our honoured guests, Dr. Kay Patterson, the Age Discrimination Commissioner, for coming along and launching the book, and also to Paul Nicolau from the Australian Chambers of Commerce. Paul, thank you very much for your encouragement and support since we sort of caught up a few weeks ago to talk about this. Paul has brought along a number of his colleagues and friends as well, which has been awesome. I want to thank every single one of you for being here tonight. Your presence is appreciated and important for the message on the book. You're all part of the experience that we've had. I've known many of you since I was 5. I've worked with you. There's guys here from the Key Person of Influence program run by Dent that I just completed. There's about 10 of my colleagues' KPIs from that program, as well as the guests invited by Paul as well. I trust you'll get something of value out of the next few minutes, and I'm sure you will when you read the book. If I may, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. That is to consider the mission that we're on, and it is a mission. And if you know someone who can help that mission or be helped by what we're doing, please introduce them to either the book or to myself. For the past 17 years, Nicole and I have been working with business owners, and Paul mentioned the numbers, but really it's been our passion to help business owners find their sweet spot, to grow their business, and to work out the strategy that works for them. So yes, I've presented to over 15,000 of them, and I've surveyed more than 10,000. Just to put that survey in context, when you hear the polls about who's going to vote for who in an election, that's roughly about 1,500 people in a sample. So we use a fairly big sample in what we do. To say we have some affinity and understanding for business owners would probably be a bit of an understatement. It's what we do. One of the questions we ask them is, what keeps you awake at night? And I know many of you run businesses, and I'm sure you have been awake at night at some point. Am I right? Yeah. I certainly have. I stayed awake all night worrying about something going on with a staff member, or because a client hadn't paid an invoice on time, or our cash flow was in trouble, or we had a bad debt, or whatever was going on. These are the things that business owners who take a risk, who go out there and put it all on the line, run into. So it's not an easy thing to do. And those business owners that we've surveyed tell us that. The 10,000 that we've surveyed, in fact, informed the whole content of my book. 41% are worried about cash flow. 38% are worried about where their next new customer's coming from. 23% are worried about staff issues. So when you read the book, know that every chapter comes from a business owner telling me that they had a problem or a challenge with that. So we're using that learning to teach the next generation experience. So while they might be starting a business in their 40s and 50s, they're going to run into the same problems that every other business owner ran into. So I guess what I'm trying to be is a bit of a circuit breaker, a bit of a guide, a bit of a mentor to them, by using the experience of those 10,000 business owners, by using the experience of all of the experts, some of whom are in the room, who I interviewed to talk about those issues and to put content into the book. A little more than 2 years ago, I was looking at a way of investigating how I could expand Blue Frog so that we could service more clients. So I'd been through the whole process of going to 20 staff. We were one of the biggest pure marketing consulting firms in Australia. To be honest, I wasn't a very good HR manager. I'm a much better marketer and strategist. And I'd come home and I'd say to Nicole, oh my God, this is going on. And she'd say, well, why don't you change it? And I went, hey, that's a good idea. Because I found I was running the business for everyone else, but not for myself and us. So you will see in the book some pretty raw stories of when we had cash flow problems, when we had problems with staff, when we had problems with quality management, when we had problems with communication. We've had I like to call them blood noses. You run into something in work, you have a blood nose, and then you get on and you learn from the experience. So 2 years ago, I was looking to find another way to expand the business. And I was thinking about the concept of a licensing model where I basically took our intellectual property and I passed it on to others to be able to run their own business in a network together. And those of you who know me know that I'm a pretty collaborative sort of guy, so I thought this would be really cool. I could pull together a group of people and they could all run their own business and we could show them what we'd learnt over 17 years. A very smart mentor of mine, Will Crothers, who runs a number of businesses in Melbourne, said to me, have you ever thought of bringing mature age people into your network? And I went, I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest, but as I do, I circled the comment in my notebook and I went away and started to do some research. Within 2 weeks of starting that research, we had completely pivoted our business to mature age business ownership. And within another week, I was in the offices of Susan Ryan, the past Age Discrimination Commissioner, talking to one of her senior advisors about the Willing to Work study. They shared the goals and aspirations they had, and I shared what I wanted to do with business owners who are a part of that group. See, mature age people, when they are made redundant and then discriminated against, will often come to the conclusion that the next thing they want to do is their own thing. They don't want to go through all the rubbish of being told that they're overqualified, code for you're too old. 27% of all mature age people willing to work have experienced some kind of overt age discrimination. I'm sure the figure's a lot higher, but 27% are reported. There's over 100,000 of this age group willing to work in Australia, so that means 27,000 of them have had some kind of discrimination. They take up to 2 years to find a job after being made redundant. And around 30% of them decide that the next thing is to start their own business because they've given up that whole bashing your head against the brick wall, sending off the resume, leaving the age off the resume just in case somebody mightn't find out until the interview. I mean, it's just crazy. So we talked about goals and aspirations, and I went away with the passion to create Silver and Wise, and that was the day we created the business. It wasn't the first name I came up with, but it became the name we chose. So that began the development of the book, our workshops and our online programs. Just for a moment, I want to focus on the process of writing a book. Many of you in the room have, and I know because you've done the program that I just did, the KPI program. A core part of that is that they want you to write a book and become an author. Now, I'd already written a few books, so I thought I knew what was going on with that, and I learnt a lot more about the concept of writing a book during that program. I actually find the writing pretty easy, so I don't want to stand up here and say, oh my God, I got writer's block, and screwing the old paper on the ground and the typewriter and the whole thing. I don't have that, I just write. But the thing that I enjoyed most about it wasn't writing the book, it was the conversations that I had. The conversations with business owners who were running their business now, mature age, who had inspired me with the ideas they came up with experts that understood small business so that I could talk about the depth of information in the book, and conversations with people like a guy that I met who had been negotiating $2 billion contracts in the oil and gas industry and had spent 3 years trying to find a new job. And I thought, wow, that's a pretty smart, skilled guy to not be able to find a job. So it was the conversations that really inspired me in regards to the book. Now, all of our programs, books and online learning programs are focused on that mature age individual. And because many decide to start a business after taking too long to find another job, they have lost status, they've lost confidence, and they are genuinely concerned about their future financially. You talk about people with 50,000 in the bank and being terrified at 57. I've had 160 odd conversations with people exactly on that matter. And while starting a business may seem risky, for many it becomes their only choice. Aside from sitting home, drinking, getting depressed, which none of us can afford, least of all the individual. So my passion is to help those individuals, and that's what this book is all about. We're drawing on the 10,000 business owner surveys that we've done for knowledge. We're drawing on the experience of the conversations we've had with experts, some of whom are in this room. And we've developed an 8-step skills module to help them start and run a successful business. And I just want to give you a couple of stats, but before I do that, evidence of our progress already. In the room tonight, we have 2 strategic advisors who are part of my licensed network. Chris Mooney, who you may meet. Chris joined us about 14 months ago. He runs his own business under the Blue Frog and Silver and Wise banner, and he operates out of Sydney. And Ashley Hayden joined us a little more recently. He operates out of Melbourne. Both of them have enormous experience in running businesses in terms of being marketers and also running businesses and executive level stuff, but they hadn't started their own business until they came to our network and have joined us with the Silver and Wise side of things to help our business owners as we take them through our programs. They have enormous numbers of skills. Ashley runs a couple of other businesses. He makes wine, so if anyone likes wine, you should talk to him about that. He's been crushing grapes, so his hands might be a bit red. Ash, I don't know where you are, mate. So, and we've recently had conversations with people in France wanting to take the Silver and Wise model overseas and translate it into French. So it's clear that other Western cultures have the same issue. So just for a moment, I'd like to do a little exercise with you. I'd like you to close your eyes. Thank you. And I want you to imagine a world without experience, where a heart surgeon has to start every operation without knowing what to do, where a farmer forgets how to sow and reap his crop, where a business owner starts every single day not knowing how to run his business, You can open your eyes. You see, our civilization is built on experience. Our own individual lives are carved through a journey on the experiences we have to work out what works so that we can survive and prosper. And every single person in this room has had different experiences to work out how life works. But if we ignore experience any longer, we're in deep trouble. And make no mistake, we are ignoring it. 27% age discrimination, 2 years to find a job. There's 100,000 of them out there, and that figure is growing at 10% a year, and it's only going to accelerate. But there is good news. When each individual we help starts and runs a successful business, we can help them celebrate a secure financial future. And as a broader society, we're engaging them in being productive. And this was a word you used in our first meeting. Their wisdom and experience. They make money, they pay taxes, they employ people, and they don't sit at home drinking, getting depressed, taking tablets, seeing doctors, drawing on the social capital. So there's both a positive upside and an avoidance of the negative downside. They don't need to be reliant on the social purse. Dr. Patterson mentioned the Deloitte study. 3% increase, $33 billion impact on the economy. In fact, just taking our target of 1,000 business owners, if we can help 1,000 business owners through our program, we've calculated an eventual $500 million difference to the economy. That kind of multiplier effect is hard to ignore. For an entrepreneur, it's almost impossible to get that out of a business. So for a business that turns over 5 or 10 million at the end of our target point, helping deliver a $500 million benefit to the economy, that's pretty cool. I hope you enjoy reading the book. The book actually isn't for sale. You can get down the lift afterwards, because I would like to sign one for each and every one of you as our gift for you taking some time out of your evening to come and join us for the launch. This is a special pre-published proof copy. There's a reason for it. Now, my mentor in the DENT program, Andrew Griffiths, who's Australia's #1 small business author, I said to him, Andrew, I've got a few graphs and things I'd like to add to the book. He said, well, Hunter, this is what you do. And he showed me his stamp. And he said, so print a couple of hundred, get them out there, and then make the changes as you go. There's another reason. There may be a few tiny proofreading mistakes in there, so don't crucify me. So I would be honoured to sign a copy for you. Now, what I'd like you to do is if everyone's got a drink, I'd like to propose a toast. Thank you so much for coming along and sharing. We've got another few minutes of networking and catching up. I want you to come and have a chat with me. Let me sign a book for you, get a photo. But before I say goodbye, think of how you can help someone that's mature age get a job, volunteer, start a business, or someone who could use our help. And if you've got your glasses, I want to say 3 things. Be wise, make a difference, and long live experience. Thanks very much.